guys, don't forget, before we get into our sneak peek, like, subscribe to the Crime Chat, ring the bell, or this guy's gonna come after you.
Previously on CrimeChat.
Welcome back home. You're
I'm
no longer in a bowl
home.
of jelly. Now you're in like some type of basement.
Interview with the Vampire, season 2, episode 1 came out.
Is it good?
And then episode 2 comes out tomorrow or today. Yeah, so good.
The guy is the actual person. He's the yeah.
He is the actual person.
Yes.
And he's playing himself in this series.
What? Yes. And I watched the whole interview, and like the whole time she's like, well, this lady doesn't look like me. This lady doesn't act like me. And Pierce Morgan like puts her and the actress together. And he's like, you guys literally look like sisters. Like called Skinamarink. And
like
it's
skidamarinky dinky dink, skidamarinky doo.
Guess, you know, I didn't even make that connection. I guess that's exactly what it means. Before we get into your story, you asked me to do a history on Hungary.
Yes, not the famine kind.
Not the famine kind. Not
the country kind.
The country kind. Okay. Well, first off, all right. Hungarian is notorious for being one of the most difficult languages to learn. The way that you say the name, and it kind of rolls off your tongue, but nothing rolls off my tongue, so it's Arpad. Okay. What about spade and hoe?
No hoes here.
Or the cool games, Rubik's Cube, wine, adorable dogs, hot springs, and paprika.
We're going to be in Hungary today, so that's why I was like, let's do a little bit of background to Hungary. We haven't really talked much about Hungary, and this story may scar you, and you may not want to go. A Hungarian serial killer who filled barrels with bodies around the World War I time frame, and many believe that Bella was triggered by an incident that descended into a life of murder.
Coming up.
You got a ghost in the house? Yeah. Maybe. That validated my thought was that my daughter-in-law heard there was this distinct man voice that was, I can't even remember what it was. It was like, hello, or are you here, or something like that, down the hallway. Like, we were in my office, and it was, obviously it was in the living room. I had a knock, and then 2 nights ago, I had a touch on my neck when I was sleeping. Yeah. I'll have to name them. I have to name my ghost. Well, and I've heard sounds like weird things, but like those 3 distinct things, and then Bella would bark at nothing, and I would joke around saying, "Oh, she's barking at ghosts."
Hey there, chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to the Crime Chat. I am your forensic femme fatale. Natalie is your true crime addict connoisseur.
We're just 2 normal girls who are obsessed with dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown.
And here's your disclaimer, chatters. The following Crime Chat contains adult content and descriptions of violent scenarios. Eerie scenarios, today.
Yeah.
Your listener discretion is advised.
We will not disappoint. No way. Well, now that you've been warned, Kat, welcome back. Okay. So you went from a bowl of jelly to a basement to now where are you?
I'm in like a rundown insane asylum in the background. My grandbaby was just here.
Yes.
My little squiggles. So well educated in the Bluey phenomenon. Bluey is a cartoon. It's made in Australia.
Right.
Super cute. My granddaughter loves it. And she'll stand there and she'll dance, like bounce up and down, and she dances to the music. Super cute. But for the adult entertainment, Chris and I started watching Sons of Anarchy.
I never watched that. Is that good? Is that worth it? The guy that plays the main character?
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with him, even though I've never seen the show. He was actually the first choice for 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, wait. I kind of already told you this a little bit before we started recording, but I think I have a ghost in the house.
Oh,
yeah. Maybe. The one thing was last week, and there was a man's voice down the hallway. Chris was at work. Nobody else was in the house. It was nighttime. It was like 9 o'clock at night. Doors were shut. Garage was shut. And there was this distinct man voice that was, I can't even remember what it was. It was like, hello, or are you here, or something like that, down the hallway. Like, we were in my office, and it was, obviously it was in the living room. I had a knock, and then 2 nights ago, I had a touch on my neck when I was sleeping. So Well, and I've heard sounds like weird things, but like those three distinct things. And then
Yeah.
Bella would bark at nothing. And I would joke around saying, "Oh, she's barking at ghosts." She would be
Maybe she
either
was barking at the ghost.
Okay.
And I have an update about somebody who I know, who I also like, an actress that I know
Mhm.
you like, and I know I like, Millie Bobby Brown.
You mean Mrs. Bon Jovi?
What?
She married Bon Jovi's son, like last week
What?
in a secret ceremony. Yes, Mrs. Bon Jovi.
So I watched 2 movies. I watched A Simple Favor. Have you ever seen that? Blake Lively.
Yes.
And I'm a huge Blake Lively fan.
Is that on Netflix?
Yes, a
Netflix right now.
class act.
Yeah.
That woman, I mean, you have to watch the movie. When you watch the movie, like I literally within the first 5 minutes had a girl crush on her. The next movie that I watched is The Deep House. Have you ever seen The Deep House?
No. Wait, is it a dive
Oh,
movie?
yeah.
Yes. The house that's underwater?
Oh.
Yeah, I
Well,
see
from
that.
my
The story that you're going to go over today, you asked me to do an introduction on Munchausen syndrome.
Mhm.
Baron Munchausen was known to be an extraordinary storyteller, detailing his life fighting for the Russian Empire in the Russo-Turkish War of 1735 to 1739. His outrageous storytelling among German aristocrats gave him a bit of a celebrity status among the social circles. So, first described in 1951 by Richard Asher, the term Munchausen syndrome was used to describe a pattern of self-harm wherein individuals fabricated histories, signs, symptoms of illnesses, and remembering the story of Baron Munchausen, the guy Asher named this condition Munchausen syndrome. Is characterized as a mental health condition to those who seek out medical or hospital treatment. When imposed upon oneself, Munchausen syndrome is when somebody exaggerates, creates, or induces a disease, illness, or injury, or abuse in order to gain examination, treatment, attention, or sympathy and comfort from medical personnel.
Mhm.
Now, Munchausen by proxy is when this is induced to another person. Typically, this is a parent-child relationship wherein the parent will injure or abuse or cause harm to a child in order to gain attention or sympathy for themselves. Now, technically and medically, it's not called Munchausen syndrome anymore. Originally, this term was used for factitious disorders. Now, however, Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen by proxy have been replaced with, quote, factitious disorder imposed on self, end quote, and quote, factitious disorder imposed on another, end quote. And as with anything or social media related, there is something called Munchausen by internet. It is
Really? I
it's
didn't know
a
that.
term describing the pattern or behavior of Munchausen's, original Munchausen's, to attempt to gain sympathy by portraying themselves as gravely ill or as a victim of violence to various online support groups who their sole existence is to support others.
Crazy. I had
I
no
know.
idea. Okay. That blew my mind.
But you'll get a kick out of this. A New Zealand magazine actually named this Cybermunch for Cyber Munchausen. And called those who conducted these acts cyber munchers.
In the seemingly idyllic world of Gypsy Road Blanchard, who we're going to be discussing today, a dark secret lay hidden beneath the facade of illnesses. In an intricate web of lies, manipulation, and a shocking crime that captivated the world, is Gypsy Rose the cold-blooded mastermind behind the murder of her mother? Or is her story one of a young woman's fight for freedom and justice? Well, throughout her life, Gypsy was subjected to terrible abuse. This has been one of the worst cases of Munchausen by proxy I have ever heard of, when Munchausen was an actual term. Right. Well, Gypsy Rose was a girl that was confined to a wheelchair, dependent on a feeding tube, and subject to unnecessary surgeries. And the whole time it was a lie. Since Gypsy Rose has been released from prison, there was a 6-part documentary and also her book that was released, along with several new revelations that came to light, that I feel that it's important to not only revisit her story, but to also dive deeper into what was revealed after she got out of jail.